What's going on?
Man, like I said before we started recording, it's been a rough week, man.
It's been a it's been
You
a
know,
been a thing for sure.
I just really felt like I was walking around in like a zombie world, and just looking at the world going by me so fast, and me not going anywhere near the speed that they were moving.
Yeah. So, man, normally I'd be like, "What's up, Big Keith?" And
Yeah,
I honestly like, all right. So we release new content every Tuesday morning. You don't miss a single episode. All right, that's the thing. And obviously, we got our buddy here, so might as well just get right into this thing. So tonight's guest co-host has been on the show before, and back to chop it up. He's a friend and all-around great guy, and also happens to be the CEO of a company that makes some of the most incredible custom 1911s. I'm pleased to welcome back Matt Riker of Kings River Custom. Matt, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great now that I'm on this show, but I'm with you guys. Somber week
Yeah.
and just full of pain and heartache. And yeah, it's been tough.
So, for those that are listening to this on the actual released podcast, let's give some perspective here. We are doing a live feed tonight, but
hmm
this is on September 11th, so we're dealing with the anniversary of that, and
Yeah.
then it's the day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So that's the as of recording, and this is releasing about a week after. So just to give perspective of where this is, and a lot of things may develop in the Charlie Kirk situation. So
yeah,
we're kind of talking right in terms of the here and the now, but hopefully some things turn up in the near future. But Keith, you want to kind of kick us off?
yeah,
We had a full show, but was almost too important to kind of avoid.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we're gonna just kind of chop it up.
yeah. I mean, I had honestly, I mean, it felt like I was. I don't even know how to articulate this in a way that makes sense to everybody else because we were so prepared for the show, and we were talking off air, and we all had the same sentiments. But I guess you mentioned September 11th, and where a great place for me to start this off is I'm trying to remain positive and hopeful, and that the way I felt after September 11th, on September 12th and 13th, is going to happen in the next few days. And we're going to get more united as a country, and get back together, because Charlie Cook, being assassinated the day before September 11th, on September 10th, and the way that I felt on that day reminded me and made me remember the way I felt on September 11th.
So it's funny because man, I want to agree with you as we usually
You,
don't.
you know,
I'll keep in the tradition of not agreeing with you.
Thank you.
You know, I was talking to some people today about 9/11, and I said, 9/11 was one of those things, one of those once in a lifetime. You could call, Pearl Harbor was one, JFK's assassination, Martin Luther King assassination. Those are some big ones. RFK's assassination, obviously, but all of those, and then 9/11. But this, it should be a uniter. It should be a wake up call. But I think there's a lot of people who disagreed with him so much. Now, I've seen a lot of really good, classy
Yes.
people on the other
Thank you.
side of the aisle who are saying the right things, and they are getting the message, right? That it's wrong and it should unite us. But there's a lot of people, a lot of extreme people that I just don't think get it. As you would say, they're on the other end of the football field, and
Yeah.
they will not
That
come to the 50-yard line.
that was the way it was on September 9th.
Was it?
Yeah. I had that conversation with someone else today too. I mean, I don't think that today there are any more radical cuckoos than there were the day
Yeah,
before,
that's
or
fair.
2 days before, or a week before.
Just got a
Yeah.
bigger voice. They've got a bigger voice today.
That's it. We just pay attention too much to the voice. We pay attention too much to the noise,
Yeah.
and we don't focus on the core values that we should be following
Hmm.
as a
Amen.
society.
Matt, you before we jumped on, you were kind of talking about Charlie a little bit. You want to kind of talk about kind of how you viewed him. I thought was really well put. You want to kind of say that again?
Yeah. So I feel like he was kind of a modern day messiah that had, steel running through his veins and lurched at the chance to have a conversation with somebody who didn't have his opinion. He wanted to earnestly hear their opinion and for them to profess it in the way he was professing his opinion. And he would almost teach him right there on the spot in those conversations. This is how you argue with me because you're not going to win. I'm too good for you. I am. I'm just too good. I mean, Charlie would tell him, this is what I do. You're stepping in the lion's den, but I want to listen to you. I'm going to give you some real objective points. And he did that with everybody. I saw some of the most contentious people come up there and just, I'd watch interviews and they just come up and shout in the mic, you need to die, and then run off. And he would just laugh at them. Okay, whatever. And it reminds me of the kind of the stoic nature, I think, of that Moses must have had, back in the day and dealing with all his wives and the kids and, just this amazing way to stay balanced and stay calm in a situation when you knew that vitriol coming out of that person in front of you was more anger than you've probably seen in a lot of people. And he was feeling that as an empath. He had to feel it. And I know Charlie was an empath.
I feel like he was a very dangerous person for the opposition. And what
Oh,
I mean
amen.
by that is, he was
100%.
going into a place where typically liberal indoctrination occurs, and he was actually able to affect change. If you look at the size of the groups that he had, he was really able to bring people in. Keith and I were talking about it the other day, just like the shame of all of this is, I was talking to a friend today earlier, and I said, you could look at a lot of people on the left or the right, talking head kind of people, and like I used Alex Jones as an example. So full disclosure, I think Alex Jones is pretty great, okay? But he says some outlandish shit too, right?
He does.
And God forbid something like that happened to him. I'm not saying it would be a good thing, but people would be like, well, he was like a loudmouth, he's crass. Charlie was none of those things.
Right.
And I said, if you were looking for someone on the left if you could model Charlie Kirk, but make him a liberal, right? Take him and make him a liberal. And you have Charlie Kirk right and Charlie Kirk left. Aren't those the people that you would want to sort of carry the torch and have discourse? Because it was done so well and so respectfully, right? Where some of these other kind of characters, they're like I said, crass, they're loud, and
More gotcha.
right. They don't do what he did. Right. And I think that's the shame of this, is that he was speaking his mind, but he did it respectfully, and someone couldn't handle that. And so for me, that's the real shame of all of this, is the fact that someone that did it right is who we lost. He never did it in a way that was, people would say that he, some of his opinions were this or that, but they were his opinions.
I don't think I had forwarded this article to you on this, but did you see the article that David Rubin had wrote on Charlie Kirk?
No.
So do you know David Rubin? He was kind of like his sparring partner, Charlie Cook's sparring partner, not in like BJJ.
Yeah.
Like in
Dave's cool.
The local debate space.
Dave's cool.
And they weren't always in agreement. Oftentimes they disagreed, but they had this. They were the counterpart to each other of what you're describing, and I think at the end of the day, Matt, you were talking about, the anger that people displayed, and I was thinking about the question I was asking myself when you were describing that is, why are they so angry? And are they so angry because they want to believe what they're spitting, but they can't articulate the proof to back it, and they get angry about that, right? Is that what you think it is? Like, is that where some of that anger comes from? They want to believe what they're saying so much, but they really, I can't tell you.
Oh, he spits argument is not going to be made. He spits such really nice little facts that you couldn't really argue with him. He had a very good way of presenting facts. And if he was wrong, he would admit he was wrong. That was the other thing. He was very rarely wrong, but I agree with his opinions are very subjective on certain things. And I see why people on the left would kind of put him in a box and say he's whatever. But he didn't deserve the Hitler. He didn't deserve the Nazi comments. He didn't deserve any of that. That's just super, super lefty stuff. And, he ate all that and said, I'm going to still go out there. I'm going to still talk to your kids at your campuses, even though you're, putting out and indoctrinating children going through high school and all this other stuff. I'm still going to go talk to them. And I'm going to be kind to them. And I'm going to speak to them like a human and an adult. And I'm going to teach them how to act a little bit nicer. I think people walked away feeling better about themselves who actually bought in.
Well, I was talking to someone today about this, and what's really been bothering me is, and this is going to get very partisan. So I'm just going to kind of say that right off the bat. But I really want to believe that people, ultimately, I think people are good, right? I think there's people good on the left,
Yeah.
there's good people on the right. I truly
Amen.
believe that,
Majority
right?
of people are.
I do. I truly believe that.
Good.
But
You should.
what bothers me is there's this, there's philosophies or ideologies, right? And I use the comparison of um, George Floyd. So George Floyd, I do not think he deserved to die. I do not think he deserved uh, some of the treatment that he received. But at the end of the day, he was on fentanyl. He had a rap sheet. He was not what I would consider to be a model citizen, right?
Right.
And when he died, they made him a martyr and they burnt cities and they created absolute devastation.
Yep.
And when I say they, I think it's pretty safe to say that those people were on the left. And my wife always says, by the nature of the word conservative, we don't do that kind of stuff. We're kind of buttoned up and we're kind of like a little bit like less, I don't know, agitated maybe is the word, but
Yeah.
but you know, Charlie Kirk, who I think was a model citizen, whether you agreed with his message or not, that's another thing. But I think he did it. He was courteous. He was respectful, and he did it, as I said earlier, the right way. And he died. There's gonna be no cities are gonna get torn down. There's not gonna be any fires. There's not gonna be any riots. Probably not gonna be any protests, right? And so to me, that's the problem. Is I just there is a difference to me between the extreme liberal and the extreme conservative even. Like I just think that there is a difference, and I don't know. To me, it's hard for me not to sort of villainize a little bit some of the left and their ideology.
Yeah,
I'm with
and
you.
I think I'm sorry, Matt. Were you going to say something?
No, no, I'd say I'm with you. I have the
Uh,
same feeling.
yeah, I'm going to disagree a little bit, and I don't want to say disagree as much as I want to say encourage you both to not feel that way. You know, it's there is not there's no reason to villainize. I mean, there is certainly this. It seems like there is this problem with that is the side that's reacting, right? You know, the other side is not the side that, or is not the side that's reacting this way. But it's, I don't know why it is. I guess I can't explain why it is.
So we got some comments here. So Tom says he definitely did it respectfully. The fact that he took the time to hear others out before discussing the topic and giving another perspective on the situation with truthful facts, and then continues to say, you know, right or left, it's wrong, and if it were reversed, they would be burning stuff down and rioting. If we did that, forget it, right? So
it's true, but
Very true.
we have to encourage the discourse. We have to encourage the conversation.
I think you're right there too, Keith. I think that's an important point. Is that I don't think it's a battle. It's going to be tough for you to push forward. I think Mike made that point. Is that we're kind of tendered to the position of backing down instead of taking that aggressive stance that the left takes. I think you can point to several different points in the past 10 years where we should have jumped up. And if the roles were reversed, black and white, if Floyd was a white guy, do you think this would be happening? It would have happened back then. I mean, that's a real thing, right?
I had a conversation with somebody that's left leaning today on this topic, and
wait,
they,
you talk to people that you don't see eye to eye with? That's incredible.
I know, yeah. Well, yeah. Another story we'll talk later about too. Was talking to this person, and they genuinely were now frightened that they were in danger, and they were giving some examples of people that were TikToking loud or whatever on the right or on the other side. And I couldn't believe at how quickly they forgot exactly what, Matt and Mike, you're talking about, how quickly they were the ones who were giving all the verbal threats and doing all the things when Trump was elected the first time, or when he was decided to run the second time around. I mean, he was the one who's now been attempted assassination twice, right? And now the Charlie Kirk thing, and you have just craziness going on out there, and how quickly they forget that they're the side doing this. Like I understand your point, I do, but I don't want to villainize them.
Well, I mean, villainize might be the wrong word, right? But I think you can't ignore facts. So I will throw myself under the bus, all right, right now. So um, I was saying to someone, it might have been my wife, I was like, if you, I heard this on, it was Jesse Waters, so it was Fox, and he pointed out like, and I added, and I'm adding a few here, but they shot Charlie Kirk, they shot President Trump. There was another one that tried to shoot him on the golf course. That's twice. There was someone brought a rifle to Kavanaugh's house. There was the Steve Scalise shooting,
Yeah.
right? Rand Paul got beat up by his neighbor with a baseball bat,
Yep.
right? And I'm like, you don't hear about it in reverse.
Yeah.
And then I have a cousin who, he's very, very, very polar opposite of me, very. And he made a post and it was like, no one should die. And then he went on this rant about, all this stuff about how terrible everybody is and guns are terrible and all this other stuff. But he made a point of a bunch of people who are liberal who had their lives threatened. One was Pelosi's husband,
Yeah.
right?
Well, he was
And
beat with a hammer.
beat with a hammer. I don't know. Was the guy conservative that did it?
You
I
were
don't know
talking
that.
This, and I was trying to remember.
I don't know.
I think he had. I don't think he was conservative as much as he. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, but there was a list. I'll have to look up the list a little bit later. But I just kind of, I don't know. I mean, but it put me in check a little bit, I guess, because I was like, here I was like rattling off all these people that are sort of on the right that are getting attacked, and I'm like, no one on the left is getting attacked, and it's like, well, maybe they are, and maybe I'm a little bit blind to it because the algorithm isn't feeding me that stuff, right? I don't know. It's possible that I'm blind, right?
Well, but Mike, I don't know. I think the algorithms tilted their side by about 80%. So
Well,
you really kind of want to weigh out, how the news is kilted in their direction. We can talk about that forever because it's been bought and paid for by the left. We're talking about George Soros, boys. I mean, there's a lot of dark money behind what's going on in the media. I mean, if you look at the Ukrainian gal that was killed in Charlotte, it took them 72 hours for anybody in mainstream to post that shit. And it was only because of pressure because of us. That's it.
I was going to bring that up because really, they really buried that pretty deep.
Oh my God,
until
yeah.
Pressure got put on.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I was going to bring the exact same thing up. And Tom chiming in again. He said to see people saying he deserved what he got and he should have known this was going to happen, right? Like that's a good point. And I also heard people. So, all right, I watched a video. I'm sorry, Keith. I watched a video today where it was Charlie Kirk talking about guns, and he was talking about the Second Amendment, and he said the Second Amendment is true liberty, and to have liberty comes at a cost at times. And I'm listening to this as I know he has been shot and killed now, and I'm going, my God, it is so eerie to hear him saying that because he's right. In order to be free, in order to have liberty, you have to have freedom. But with that freedom there is a risk that comes with that.
And he made the sacrifice.
And he made the sacrifice, exactly. So it's incredible to me.
So De Pape or whatever was the guy that beat Pelosi's husband, and there was politically motivated, but they don't say conservative because he believed in like QAnon and like this. Okay. So I don't know that that's people are calling it far right, but I don't think that's far right. Is that far right? Or is that just far?
QAnon is just. I mean, it's I don't know. I followed that on X a little bit. That's back in the COVID days when you were just sitting around looking for something to get into online, and QAnon was something that kept people busy, in my opinion. But it's that's a scapegoat really to say that I mean the guy was violent and he was involved with a guy who liked violence. I mean that Paul Pelosi guy, you kidding me? That's a lover's quarrel and it's shitty, but that's what it is. I grew up in a very liberal town, and let's just say that the gay and lesbian people I knew in there's plenty of them that were just as violent as any straight man or woman would be.
Well,
and I'm talking very violent, like boyfriends beating up boyfriends. And it was not just one couple. I grew up in a town that's probably 50% gay and lesbian, and it was pretty common. It was.
Well, we're all human, right?
We're all human. I mean, it was normal to see that in public, because in Eureka you could grow up doing that and nobody would judge you or whatever. But I can tell you right now, that is a normal thing. And what he did, he just got caught in the middle of a lover's quarrel with that hammer. And in my opinion, this is third party stuff, but it's
Listen,
just I've seen that before.
I'll enjoy Mike. You know, I'm reminded as we're talking about this story, and I'm saying everyone's human. I'm reminded of the episode with cousin Butchie, and remember what he said. He said that we all have evil thoughts. It's just the ones that act on it.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Amen.
I had a friend, so we were talking on a group chat, and one of my friends who's, again, opposite side, you know, we don't agree on it much, but he was like, these things always fascinate me because I wonder, like, in this day and age, if like the guy can get away with it. And I'm like, I've definitely thought of like, man,
No,
how do you get
I'm
away
glad
with
you
this
bring
stuff?
this up.
But
It's almost impossible.
it's got to be almost impossible. I
Between
mean,
Can't get away with that crap.
and door cameras, door
Yeah.
ring cameras.
You can't get away with anything, man.
no.
You kidding me? We're becoming a police state, and
I
you know,
literally-
Great Britain already is. Great
But
Britain's been that way for 10 years, man. They've got cameras everywhere. You can't fart over there without them writing you a ticket.
Matt, I gotta ask though, like, because I had this thought, I was like, man, I don't like it. I don't think it should be that easy. I don't think you should be able to be true. But at the same time, in this situation, thank God they can.
Yeah.
So where is the balance? Where?
I live in the middle of the country, boys. I live out in the middle of nowhere.
That's it. I guess if you don't want to be recorded, go live with Matt.
I've got 4 acres on the lake. I mean, you know, drones are my biggest threat, and I've got plenty of 12 gauge slugs. So
Just make sure they don't see you shooting it down. You know.
So I guess Tom's a CEO. He works in a place full of guys that thought they'd get away with it. Oh man, that's funny. Well, speaking of that, so we did get some new stuff coming out. So the first thing that came out today was they found the rifle. So it was a Mauser 30-06.
Yeah, I mean, and this is literally like moments before we got on air.
Yeah, I think they found it earlier, but I had not seen photos. The other thing, I don't know if you heard this, Keith, but they the casings had some things inscribed on them. You heard
and
that?
the gun too, I believe.
Yeah, so it had
Really?
it had some anti like fascism stuff, anti-fascism stuff, and
was there
and transgender
gender
stuff. It was anti-fascism and transgender.
Imagine that.
And what was he talking about? That's the coincidence of all this that I'm like, man, like, my gosh, you know.
I mean, he was literally talking about trans shooters.
Yeah.
And then now some of the videos that have just come out too, like you see him running across the top of the building.
Well, here it is. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
picture right there of him. You know, they can see him up on the roof where the circle is here, and since then they've also, you know, this is the person of interest right here. So, you know, I mean, is he going to get caught? I think he's going to get caught. You know, if he doesn't get caught, I've been saying this all day. If he doesn't get caught, I already am suspicious of this because I think that shot is a pretty difficult shot. I mean, like, look at that. It's not like a high-powered scope.
Well,
And
it was less than 200 yards. I had this debate with someone too who agrees with you. I think it's easier than we think it is.
I mean, okay.
It's easier than you think it is.
Hold on.
Yeah.
People are
Thank you, Matt.
people are saying that this is they think it's a college kid. That's what they're saying. I mean,
I think he has average knowledge of firearms. I don't think he's a military tip of the spear kind of guy.
I mean, you say that, but okay, you're talking a 200-yard shot with
Less than.
with a roughly 200 yards. I mean, every news report says 200.
I know. I'm just.
It's probably 198, and Keith's gonna break my balls. No, but
6 feet.
it's roughly 200 yards.
Roughly.
A ton of adrenaline dump. I mean, the amount of pressure to that you might get shot, you might die, you might get caught and go to jail, and you're taking this high pressure shot, and then you're talking about where he hit him. I mean, he hit him in the neck.
I bet he wasn't aiming there.
Actually, he hit him here. Hit him in the
Did he?
plate. Went like this.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, it went.
Oh, okay. I mean, I actually haven't heard where he got hit. I just assumed because of where the blood came out, it was the neck.
Well, it probably the 30-06 is a pretty good sized bullet, but if it hits the collarbone and it's gonna go through you can see it when the slow mo. A friend of mine, Tracy Guns, she posted it on IG, and it slowed it down to where you could see it because he was wearing a plate. It hit the tip of the plate and went across, and you saw it go in here. It went in here, and then so the guy he missed. He was, you know, he's probably hit, you know, aiming here, and, you know, 200 yard, a little bit of drop. He's at an angle up top, but that's not a hard shot, guys. I mean,
I agree.
here's the thing. My son was 14, and we were in a range. It's called Scottsdale Gun Club in Scottsdale, Arizona, and a new Reaper had come out, a Reaper model, and it was a 308. It's a cool gun. Had a big 9.4 scope on it. We wanted to play with it, so we went to the range, and we were on a 50-yard range inside. But we held that gun up. At first, we put the bipod down. We were shooting off the actual bipod on the center post of the range. Then we held the gun up at 50 yards and tried to drill the paper that way. We looked at the paper when we brought it back. We were better up freehand than we were on the bipod. Now I think a lot of
think about
how many hunters miss shots at closer than 200 yards on a
ton
deer?
of them.
Ton of them.
Yeah,
them.
right. But now you're talking about someone that's taken the life of a human in a place where there's got to be a ton of pressure. I don't
It would
know.
be hard for you
I
because it's hard for you to comprehend because you are a good person.
I would think this guy's been training for probably 6 weeks, guys. They had him offsite training him.
Matt, what are you
This was
talking
not
about?
just a come on now. He had more trigger time than half the military forces leading up to this.
I said a few hundred rounds and a few weeks. You got this.
Yeah, look at Jack. I mean, Jack Reacher's kind of the epitome of that whole setup. You watch the first Jack Reacher, it's the same story we've got going on here.
The question is, okay, so let's say that it's a doable shot. The question is, was he just, and we don't know this, but was he a disgruntled kid that just didn't like the rhetoric, or did somebody
He doesn't look
put
like
him
a
up
kid.
to
I
it?
mean, I don't want to assume that this is the
He's a
guy.
puppet.
They've already arrested 2 other people.
Well, no, I mean, this is the person of interest as of like today.
Yeah.
So we don't know, but we're going off with the info we have. He's pretty young.
I think he's a
No,
puppet.
look at that
Personally-
guy. He looks old. He looks like kind of crouched over. Look at that little.
Nah, look at this picture though.
That dude might be 30.
Maybe.
Okay.
He's definitely young, right? He's definitely
Yeah.
not old. He's not an old guy.
Now they want to get somebody
We're
fit.
talking about the shooting. Here's the layout, right? So, look where the courtyard is. I don't know, like an elevated position. It's hard to shoot from an elevated position.
Tom saying, look at how they didn't call it an assault.
Yeah, well,
I don't
Well,
know,
it did
man.
have- it did have
If you had
evil
any
features.
training at all, that's what you do. I mean, so when you're in the military, you take the high ground, right? I mean, that's your point of aim. If you got the high ground, you have the advantage. You're taking out your target no matter what. That's why they have him on the high ground, because he could actually pop and go back at it in half second.
It was an ideal building, right? Like it had a long roof that connected multiple buildings. It was,
It's a lot like Butler.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Butler, Pennsylvania, man. I mean, if you
Well,
really
that
think
was
about
a longer shot, right?
it
That-
was.
it's a little longer shot, but
Yeah.
It's a long, flat
with
roof.
not as capable of a weapon. Like I think
Yeah, what was
this-
that?
That was an AR.
It was an AR,
yeah, it was an AR.
Yeah. I mean, AR is capable of that. range. That's-
Capable, but it's not as capable as this.
Guys, I was shooting.
This is more made for that kind of shot.
Oh, that's an easy shot for that rifle, guys. I
Right.
mean, it just is an easy shot for that rifle. That a Mauser with that's not a 3x9. That's a 4x12 at least.
Yeah.
Optic on there, and it looked like it might have been a Zeiss, might have been but I can't see there. But I mean, it's a Mauser, so it's a German gun.
Remember, I'm going to give this line. I'm going to give this credit to this line to Beck, and he said, a friend of ours. He said, "Remember, it's the gun's fault,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? This is the gun's fault."
Well, that's the part that's frustrating here. I think, going back to what Tom said, which is, they label it whatever they want to label it, right? So if they want it to be an assault weapon, it's an assault weapon. If they want to call it a hunting rifle, it's a hunting rifle.
Yeah.
By all, the reason why this gun will never get villainized is because it only shoots one at a time. I mean, you have to rack a bolt, right? And it isn't causing mass casualties. That's what they would say, right? And it's, it doesn't fit the narrative that they want, right? Like
they'll call it a sniper rifle.
Right.
Yeah, they'll call it a
that's
sniper rifle to kind of villainize it and say, well, this is a sniper's tool, which is a weapon of war.
But
And
they're not even talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Like a conservative guy dies, and it's just like,
No, I mean they're taking this opportunity. Most of the news media outlets are taking the opportunity to be respectful and be the way they should be.
Who was the guy on it, MSNBC that Dowd?
Yeah, I mean that was a little
Matt
bit of
Dowd.
indication this morning. Matt
Yeah,
Dowd getting
right.
fired.
Tom just said it. He said, "Here it is."
Yeah.
MSNBC on video said they were jumping to conclusions that, it could. They said it could be a supporter
Well-
celebrating shooting his gun. Like who
Yeah.
does that?
I
What?
want to find. I want to find here exactly what Matt said, Matt Dowd, but he didn't say that. He said something more along the lines of Charlie's
Is hate
it's
speech.
hate speech. Thank you. Yeah, it's hate speech, and that when you have hate speech leads to hate violence, and this and I was, I mean, way wrong. He obviously has never seen a Charlie Cook conversation in his life.
Charlie Cook is our
I
buddy.
mean, Charlie Kirk. I apologize. Thank you, Charlie Cook. Nice talking to you, buddy. You were on my mind today, actually. That's been it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. I hope they get this guy. You know, I really do. And I hope you're right, Keith. I really hope that this brings people together.
Well, remember that freedom of speech is supposed to be the trophy of society, right? That's what it is supposed to be. So have faith that that will be what comes out of this, right?
It's tough it's tough, man, when you see Elmar Onan, you know, a senator for the United States of America, saying that it's a good thing this guy's dead.
Well, that that needs to stop, and it's not just people like him. I mean, what Maxine Waters has been
Oh
accused
yeah,
of inciting violence, multiple times. What's the other one?
Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the whole squad is like
So
disgusting.
I agree with you there, Matt. Like, it has to stop with our political elected officials.
Can
on
somebody
either side.
can someone confirm this for me? So I had seen where on the House floor, how do you say, Boebert?
Yeah, I think so.
She asked for a moment of silence,
Yeah,
and there were boos. But then
Yeah.
a friend of mine who I was talking to said that he thought that the speaker gave a moment of silence, and then she said, "Could we have a prayer for Charlie Kirk?" And that's when they started, you caused this and all this stuff. I don't know either. Do you know which is
I
true?
don't know. I did not.
I don't either. I saw bits and pieces of that today, but
Yeah.
I'm Sunday's my day because tomorrow I got to run. But yesterday I had so much going on with that, and I was trying to go through meetings. I didn't get to see as much as I wanted. By the time I got home, I was so upset.
Yeah.
I just kind of checked out and sat next to my wife and just held her hand. And it was one of those moments. I just, because Charlie was one of those voices I relied on. I learned about Charlie because of my dad's son, Austin. Austin told me about him back in 15, and my son and I were just kind of connecting on politics at that point. And he said, "Hey, Dad, you ever seen Charlie Kirk?" I was like, "No, who's that?" So he sent me a link, and I was like, "Holy shit, who's this guy?" And
Right.
I just sunk my teeth into all of it. And him and I would connect on Charlie. He would send me a clip of Charlie, dismantling somebody who came at him with all this stuff, and I'd be, yeah, so it was a connection for me and him, and that built obviously over the years. And I have so much respect for him and what he went through as a human being and a conservative American, and what he did every day. I mean, he put his family at risk every time he went out. That's the way I look at it, because as a man, you're a provider. You provide, you protect. It all builds down off dad, right? Dad's the structure that kind of builds everything, and mom follows along, and they're a team, and they help fortify the children, which builds the classic triangle of the classic nuclear family. And Charlie exhumed that. I think he was a leader in bringing that back as a normal, and it's okay to be that. It's okay to be a nuclear family and be a single alpha male, not just a beta, an alpha male. And it's okay to have those kind of protective inklings in your DNA and say, look, I like protecting my family. I like being able to, train with my family, or take care of the Second Amendment when it comes to training my kids and my wife and the people around me, just so they can be safe. More than anything, I think that's kind of how that nuclear family is looked upon by the left, as an evil empire of whiteness. And I think in the last 5 years, we've crossed that border. Now we're seeing a lot of African Americans come to the table, and people of color saying, look, we believe in that. We understand that too. We're not scared to say that. And I think Charlie Kirk had a lot to do with people getting their gumption and being able to say, I'm confident in saying that's who I am.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your son, and Keith, you said something the other day about a friend of yours that I don't think we realize, unless you have like a college age kid, you don't realize how popular he is.
That's
How well
exactly what I was gonna
you
say.
don't know how well. I don't think you realize how well known and how much he has done in terms of reach
He-
to that demographic.
He single-handedly delivered Trump the young vote.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It's
I think
wild.
whoever is of that under 30, age group, or maybe even if I don't know, don't quote my generational ages here, but I would say under 30, and you voted for Trump, you knew who he was.
Charlie Kirk. Oh yeah, my other son Kefton, he's 30 now, but he knew instantly. I mean, we've obviously been in my household; it's hard to avoid it. But
Yeah.
even my daughter's 35. She knew who Charlie Kirk was, and she's she rides the middle. She's kind of independent. Has some independent ideas on both sides, but she leans towards conservative. And
I haven't gotten an opportunity to talk in detail to the person who I heard the story from yet, but briefly I was told that a good friend of mine's niece was there, and she volunteered for Turning Point, and she was young, and she was moved by his message, and she was so moved that she wanted to go to college at Utah, and she wanted to volunteer, and she wanted to be a part of this, and she's rocked by this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, we talked about reactions, and we talked about the way people are reacting to these things that happen that affect them or affect their lives, right? And you have people that react the way that this person reacted and shot Charlie, and you have people who were there that are, in shock that you could be shot in public for what you said.
Well,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Something I want to go back to, Matt. You talked earlier about the Charlotte stabbing and how long it took to get it out there. And
Yeah.
I've said this many times, Keith. You've heard it, but I always will go back to the media, and I always go back to the idea. I've said it many times that this is a result of media becoming sensational entertainment. Right? It's not delivering news anymore. I mean, yes, they are delivering news, but they're delivering news with an opinion. And so I always go back
So
to
subjective. So
yeah.
subjective.
I go back to when like the nightly news was you sat down with your family, you watched an hour of news, you found out what was going on, and then you went down and you sat down for dinner. And then, we got the 24-hour news cycle, and you can only do, down the middle stuff for so long before you got to just start interjecting your opinions, because you have to keep it moving, and you got to keep it entertaining, and you got to keep it fresh. And so you can't have 30 shows on Fox or 30 shows on, CNN without having some sort of opinions. And so, when these things happen, instead of us all going, this is what happened, and having some sense of sanity, we have to sensationalize. So you have to have people giving their opinions, and you have to have people giving stupid statements like this guy on MSNBC, right? And that's to me why we can't get back to that 50-yard line, because the person who's watching Fox for 10 hours a day, or CNN for 10 hours a day, they're just being pumped full of these opinions.
And it's not just CNN, it's not just that, it's TikTok, it's Instagram,
it's everywhere.
I think you Keith's right on it. I think that's I just got into TikTok, like actually looking at it and kind of paying attention to it over the past few months, and it is unreal what's on there. I mean, just the rooms where they're going at each other, and they're just, two guys are sitting there, one's on the left, one's on the right, and they're just taking questions, and it's just this diatribe of crap below them where people are just blowing them up and, cussing at them and cursing at them. And it's just instant gratification of crap. And it is all opinionated, nonsensical, going nowhere, mindless poo. And I'm just amazed at it. But people sit there and do this all day to that thing. I can't do it. I'll check it on the weekends, but it's so depressing that and of course it's who you pick.
And I know that since the beginning.
Can I pause you for 1 second? I do apologize.
Sure.
Everyone's saying your mic is not on it, and I think it might be because of the live stream. Can you just try to unmute? And if we get feedback, guys, if we get feedback, we apologize. Give it a roll. I know. Hold your ears.
I don't want to do it.
Do it.
I'm so scared.
Come on, Keith, do it.
I'm gonna mute my mic just to say.
I gotta find where to do it.
Hold your ears, guys.
Yeah, see, it's right there.
You good?
Not here.
There's an echo. Yeah, turn it off.
But can you hear me better on the live feed now at least?
I don't know. I think
I can hear you.
They're probably hearing you through my mic. Yeah, turn it off.
Well, you know what? I'm not saying anything important, guys. Don't.
Yeah.
It does sound like your mic's off, Keith. It does. I mean, it sounds like I'm getting you through Mike.
Yeah. We knew this is what we get for doing a live feed an hour before.
Sorry,
guys.
What? Wait, you want? How about can I do a little shimmy with this other mic?
I don't think it's that. Let's just keep going.
All right.
I think we've been going for
39
minutes,
minutes,
yeah.
40 minutes now.
So
Well, where was I? I had a very good point before this.
I'm
where,
sorry.
Where was I, Mike? Do you remember where
Was
we
it
were
about the
talking?
Matt Dowd guy? What
Oh,
we talking-
now I remember. Yes, no, it wasn't about Matt Dowd, but we were talking about TikTok and social media and Instagram and how, you know, people need to, you know, not be getting so much news there. And Mike, you were really, I think, getting to the point of news has to stop. Has to choose better news stories. They have to choose more positive, patriotic things and things that are not so so depressing all the time, or diversifying, or you know, divisional, right? May keep us on these end zones. But where the personal story that I was going to talk about was, I talked to two individuals today that in my life are at extreme differences. Mike, right there, one is way farther left than me, and one is way farther right than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the same conversation with both of them in terms of like, you both need to get off of social media.
Yeah.
You are both, they're both were so scared of what is to come from this event and it being so close to September 11th and everything else that's going on in the world. I'm like, you two have more in common than you ever know. And they don't know each other, but it's the same problem. They both are looking at these 1 minute news caps,
Yeah.
and they're believing these conspiracy theories, or they're believing these.
What-
And you've just got to calm down.
Yeah,
and
I consume plenty of media.
I love
plenty, right?
We all know I do too,
Yeah.
right?
So I mean, here's the thing: when I consume media, and I know my algorithm is feeding me what I want, you know, what I want, right? I mean,
But you actively go.
I
search for
can't
other
say what I'm
things.
about to say because my wife actually listens to these. So, but no,
Those parts of the algorithm we don't talk about.
no, but where was I going to go with this? Boobs got in my head. Anyway,
The natural recourse, man.
yeah. No, what I was going to say is I watch it, but I am also very well aware of the fact that they will take stuff and chop it up. I'll give you
Out of context.
I will give you a non-political example. There was a clip from Shaquille O'Neal's podcast. He had Mike Tyson on,
Uh-huh.
and he said, "Who do you think is the greatest heavyweight of all time?" Right? Well, I am.
Yeah,
You know,
Mike
Tyson's like, I am. You know. Now I found this odd because I've heard many interviews with Tyson. I'm a pretty big Tyson fan, and I'm like, he generally does not say he's the greatest. And then I went to the comment sections. I always do that because a lot of times you'll get some good feedback from that. The comment sections will often clarify some problems if you read enough of them. And someone said, this is an edited clip. The question was, who do you think the greatest is of all time? And he said, first would be Muhammad Ali. Other than that, I'm the greatest of all time. Something like that. And they cut out the whole Muhammad Ali part, but that's sensational, right? Because people are going to go on and say, no, you know, this person's better, that person's better. But
Well, they might believe Mike Tyson is the greatest. And
they might,
you know.
But I just found that interesting because it's, you know, it's, you have to know that when you listen to these TikTok things that you're getting what you get, but you can't take it as, you know,
We need to help
gospel.
people realize.
I mean, listen, I can't cure the world. I can't fix everybody.
No, I mean, that's why YouTube's safer for me. I mean, for video stuff, I like.
You gotta be careful of that too, though.
They are. They can tear it up, but you know, it's up to you to use your filter and kind of understand the
By the way, everybody's having a good time because people are saying that Tom is showing off because he can hear you fine. So
Thank you, Tom. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. Thanks,
Crystal
Tom.
Crystal popped in there for you, Mike.
Yeah, she did.
Well.
Sorry, Crystal.
She heard the boobs comment. She's like, "Yeah, it's my boy."
Oh, that's funny. Oh, shit. Well, so one of the things that was going on with there was a conspiracy theory that Israel is behind the assassination of Charlie, and this person who I'm talking to, I said, listen, Israel has nothing to do with the assassination of Charlie. In my opinion, I'm pretty confident of that. He speaks very highly of Israel. He's been to Israel. Netanyahu and him just had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. He was invited back to Israel. There was a clip that to prove their point, they forwarded me an Instagram clip.
With Ben Shapiro, right?
No, it wasn't Ben Shapiro. It was actually a Charlie Kirk clip of him talking about Jews and talking negatively about some Jews. But he was not talking about Israel Jews. He was talking about crappy Jews who don't believe that Israel is right for, it was the total opposite, and it was taken completely out of context. And I, even before I had responded that way to the post, I said to this person, I haven't even looked at this Instagram post, but you cannot win this argument with me by giving me Instagram posts.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to open it yet, and I'm going to tell you that there is no way that what you are showing me on Instagram is going to win this argument. And then sure enough, I opened it, and in 5 seconds, I was like, this is taken completely out of context.
Right.
The entire discussion of what he's talking about is not in this 1 minute clip. And, and then I gave him, and then I forwarded the post on X from Netanyahu about the conversation that him and Charlie Kirk had a couple weeks ago, and how sad he is to learn what had happened to him, and that he was sending prayers to his family. And Charlie Kirk was a Christian, and Netanyahu is certainly not, right? So,
For the record, Charlie Cook was not killed. Just for the record.
Charlie Kirk.
Kirk, do I keep saying Cook?
You do. Keep
Yeah.
saying it.
It's like a weird tick.
Poor Charlie.
Maybe I got Tourette's.
Maybe. And by the way, as we're talking about how you have to be careful about what you
Yeah.
read and
Or
like
what you
there's
say.
how you gotta be careful about what you see and what you read. Tom here sends me a private text and it's got a whole bunch of memes that could very well be unverified. I'm like, come on, Tom, not cool, man, not cool. So all right, this is what I'm gonna say.
Charlie Kirk?
This is Charlie Kirk. It is a heavy topic. I think we've kind of covered it well. Can we go to some lighter stuff and some gun stuff and kind of get into a regular rhythm here?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's up to you. I'm
right.
I'm cool with whatever, man. I think we
Okay.
covered it too.
Let's get into something else. I'll skip around here a little bit, Keith. So
Yeah, let's pick-
I'll start it out because
pick a couple choice ones.
one of you mentioned something about MMA before. So
I did.
yeah, so you got my juices going because there was a great article. Everyone that knows anything about the fight world, and Matt, I know you're a fan, knows that Zuckerberg he's a BJJ guy now.
Yeah.
Well, there was an article that he was encouraging his executive staff
To
This is
to
great.
train. Yeah.
to train so instead of doing like a golf outing, he was like, let's do some MMA. And one of his executives was like, so he got mounted, which is exactly what it sounds like if you don't know anything about jiu-jitsu, but basically another man straddling
If you don't know
you.
anything about jiu-jitsu, it's what you think it is.
Yeah. And
Like fun.
the guy was like, yeah, this is just too much for me, man. And I'm like,
That was my favorite part of the article because
oh, it was so good.
I had to have an internal moment of laugh. And what it was I remember at one point in my career, middle management, I wanted to have a team building exercise. And my bright idea for a team building exercise was to have a day at a butcher.
I would have loved
I
it.
know you would have.
Yeah.
It was not for everyone on my team.
It was not well received. They did not like it.
There's
So-
some interesting smells in a butcher.
Yeah.
So as I'm reading this article and I get that one of these executives were like,
Well-
"What the fuck am I doing in this room?"
Well, okay, so let me give you the other end of this. So I did jujitsu for
don't
eight
ever
years.
do a team building exercise. A TGE with.
I did jujitsu for 8 years, right? And I can tell you with pretty good certainty that anyone who does it, if you've never done it before, everyone who does it, the first like few times you do it, you're like, oh, I feel real gay right now. Like it's just you're
okay. Like I don't.
No,
I'm
I
from
know,
my masculinity.
no.
I'm not. I don't want to roll around with sweaty guys.
no, but
Forget being,
I'm
not
telling
being.
you that like every straight or gay, it is a very awkward
Yeah,
entanglement,
sure,
right?
sure.
It is very awkward, right?
Sure.
And
But
you
it isn't a great skill. I do not diminish
Oh, yeah.
the skill.
well, and listen, I give Zuck credit for doing it. I do not give him credit for
Trying to team build.
trying to team build. All right, so Keith,
Building something over there.
Let me pick one.
so do we want to go in order? Yeah, let's just jump around a little. Let's just jump around, have some
Jump
fun.
around a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick. All right. I just thought this was pretty cool. It was that the Navy. Everyone knows those really cool guns that we've seen on the battleships that are like in a dome and they got the Gatling gun on the end. and they're like, they sound like an A10 warthog, and they just kind of automatically follow things and shoot them out of the sky. Well, the military says they're not going anywhere, and they just signed a new contract to totally upgrade all of these things, and they are shooting 4,500 rounds per minute. It's called the MK-15 Flax. How was that? What how you would pronounce that?
Is it a Dylan? Is it a Dylan product? What's the caliber size? Is it 20 mil or is it a
No, it's bigger than that. I looked. That
40
was the
mil?
article.
So here's the real question: would that be a good team building exercise for TGE?
Yes.
Go shoot one of those bad boys. How about that, man?
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, if you haven't shot a Dylan minigun, you got to shoot one of those. Those are
Have
incredible.
you shot Frank's?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I have shot. No, not a minigun.
Oh, what does he have?
He's got a Gatling gun.
Gatling gun. That's right.
You are correct. Not this one. Something else shoots 20 millimeter. I think this shoots something else.
Well,
But it's
while I
kind
think
of
of
like
that,
does it have 6 barrels like a round, or is it like 6 like this? Like
No, it is 20 millimeter. You're right. It is
20 mil? Yeah, that sounds right. I mean,
Mark, feel free to be as sarcastic as you want, my friend.
But they shoots 4,500 rounds per minute. And this was the confusing part to me, and Matt, maybe you can help me understand this. So I guess it shoots 4,500 rounds per minute against missiles, and then 3,000 rounds per minute against like aircraft or small asymmetric targets. But each magazine holds 1,550 rounds. So how the heck does that work? Is it just maybe a bunch of magazines stacked around?
there are cases. They're rectangle cases. They load them that way. That's the easiest way to load them in those airships is a suitcase, and you slide them in and push them up in.
This isn't the one that's in the A10 Warhog. This is the ones that's on the battleship.
On the deck? Yeah, I don't know about those. I can tell you this.
It must be in that big like cone shaped thing that's on the top of them.
But if there's a magazine, though, I mean, 1,000 rounds in a mag, I mean, you're going to have a pretty mobile unit to be able to load those with whatever's on the deck of that ship, right? I mean, even if it's.
I mean, these things are shooting. They must be going through mags like that because every time I've ever seen them in action, they gotta have shot like 3,000 or 4,000 rounds in a couple seconds.
Well, how big are the mags? How many
They
rounds
only
are
hold 1,500. Is my point.
Yeah.
So there's a little contradiction either in the article or maybe they forgot a zero. Maybe it's 15,000 rounds per mag.
No, dude, that's a lot of weight. A 20 mil round is like that. What you need to look up, there's a really neat video on Steve Irwin. He's actually going through a warthog and saying, check this warthog out, mate. And he actually shows the gun and he shows the rifling in the barrel. There's 6 barrels sticking out of that thing. And he talks about the rounds are sitting there too. I think they're 20 mils. And he goes through and describes the operating system of this warthog, talking about the gun and how many rounds per second. It was something like, I don't know, 50 rounds a second or some crap. And I was like, yeah.
You got a fan, buddy.
I do?
You do. Matt is very sexy in person. Got
Mark?
ultimate goals.
Yeah, that was a good show, Mark. Good to see you here. We had a good time. I actually met Amy and Mitch Eckler down at that show.
Well, you know that we had Mitch on the air. He was in the studio.
I did. He told me he texted me on the way down. He's like, "Hey, Riker, I'm going down to see the boys in New York."
We both said we got to get you up here, man.
I know. Listen. I got no excuse. My family's from there.
It's
Rikers Island. I mean, all that's my dad.
Really? Are you related to the Rikers of Rikers Island?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. You know what's funny?
Cool.
You know what's funny that you say that is every time I like it's like a word.
We never talked about that.
It's like a word association thing, but every time I think of you, I like to remember your last name. I always think of Rikers Island. It always.
You watch Law and Order once, you're thinking of me. I mean, you're like, hey, oh, Maddie, what's Maddie up to down there in Missouri?
So I have a positive 2A story.
Sweet.
Okay.
I have a positive 2A story. So normally we feel like we're getting shafted, but in Florida, Governor DeSantis has declared a 2A tax holiday.
Yep.
So if you're from Florida, during Columbus Day weekend, there's no tax on ammo, guns, any of that stuff. I'm like, man, we really are in the wrong state.
We are.
We really are. Like, that's an awesome. And he said it was something along the lines of, we understand that people that hunt and shoot for sport and target shoot, that it's an expensive hobby, and man, they just wanted to give back a little bit. I'm like,
it's awesome.
That is a good Second Amendment story. I was happy about that one.
they've got a neat government down there in Florida, don't they? Some real honest speakers. The attorney general is a very straight speaking young man too. And I would be feel very safe to be in Florida right now as a resident. It's, I heard this morning I listen to NPR on my way to work just to kind of keep an eye or an ear on that pulse and kind of keep that vitriol where it needs to be. But people were saying from Florida, I'm going to move out because I can't get my COVID shot and all that. And DeSantis is a firm believer. If you don't need it, you got a good immune system. Why get the damn shot? And he's right on board with what Kennedy's doing, and as far as that rollout goes. And this person was like, I'm going to move out of Florida because I can't get my COVID shot. All they have to do is go across the border and get their COVID shot some other state, but they're willing to move out. That's how dramatic the left can be, is those little bitty, and not just left. I mean, obviously people don't have to be left to want the COVID shot. I know plenty of conservatives that jumped into that boat too. I think it's interesting that DeSantis is taking that, you mess with our law enforcement, you're going to get put in jail. If you're messing around on this stuff, we're going to go ahead and make sure that your voice is quelched. He's very adamant about keeping the crazies at bay, so to speak. And I like that about him. I think he's a settling force for those people down in that crazy state. It's a crazy state. Think about that.
Yeah. We all know about Florida, man.
Yeah. And I think that whole aura of what you're talking about goes with what we've been talking about all night tonight. Like there needs to be law and order, but there needs to be a balance to the law and order, and it can't get out of hand.
I'll always side on freedom, though.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm trying to say that
always.
It's this weird balance.
It's a weird balance,
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think about
Rikers Island? Stay the hell out of there.
So, what is the connection? How did your family own the island?
No. We were just so my family came over in 1497 or whatever on Plymouth. I mean, they were Dutch.
Oh wow.
Dutch, Irish, and German, and they came over. And I had a great grandpa that was on the field with Washington at the battle of, what was the Battle of New York, the big battle up there?
Saratoga?
I don't think it was. What was this? Captain Riker. And we actually, the oldest house that's living, the oldest homestead is in the Bronx, and it's the Riker house. And it's been there since 1520, something like that.
It was like your great.
My lineage, yeah, my lineage that's my dad's side.
That's cool.
And then they took off and moseyed. Some of them took off and moseyed out west and landed in Oklahoma. And great grandpa liked Indians, so I got a lot of Cherokee in me too.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's dad tracked it back, or grandma did years ago, and said, yeah, we're part of the Rikers Island. Or they sold Rikers Island, so that was Rikers drugstore. That was the big family. They owned like almost every drugstore back in the 20s and 30s, and they sold out to whoever took over for Rexall or whoever came in and put their name on it. But that was the main family that had all the money and got involved in politics back in the 20s and 30s. And I don't know why it was named after the family. I don't know any of that stuff. I just was told, hey, yeah, you're part of that lineage and you are tied to that crew. And it was explained to me when I was like 15 or 16. And of course, I slept since then. But yeah.
So Keith,
yeah.
Do you want to do the EV car story? So do you want me to play the video first?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you that are listening, guys that are on, I apologize if this is really blaring. Just kind of give me a thing, and I'll try to lower it. But we're gonna give this a rip. All right, we should probably share this on the screen for you guys. Keith, I really gotta get you better at like learning this stuff.
It's not possible. I'm sorry. I get it. It's not. It is possible. I shouldn't say it's not possible. I can't learn it right now.
All right.
I can't hear it.
Yeah, I can't either.
It's on the bottom right. You have it muted.
That's an electric car.
That's an electric car. Yeah.
So basically, what happened to this guy, Matt, is he gets pulled over because his electric car exhaust is too loud.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss of words for it. It's just it's a perfect segue from what Mike was just saying, right? You're always going to side on the side of freedom. Here it frickin' is, right? I mean, this is an example of somebody like law just taking it too far.
Is it a hybrid? Like, is it gas?
It's a full electric car.
Full electric car.
And it just has. Do you remember there was a movie a few years back with Vince Vaughn? where they were designing a sound for electric cars, and who else was in it? The guy from King of Queens helped me out. Kevin
Kevin
James.
James.
Kevin James and him were in it. And that was their job. Their company was making the sound that was going, and it was a Dodge, believe it or not.
Yeah,
that they were working
it was
for.
supposed. This is a real. I know it's a real thing,
It's
but
a
like
real thing,
no,
yeah.
but basically like
In the movie it wasn't,
it adds volume through speakers and
Yeah,
right.
it
Yeah,
makes and it's,
Wow.
I mean, actually, it makes a lot of sense because where I first started to see it happening most common, Matt, was in electric cars in reverse, like a backup alarm, because you don't hear them coming like a regular
Sure.
car, you know.
Sure.
So, but now it's like, you know, they want people to feel like they're still in a car. So anyway, this.
let me see if I
electric
can just
car-
get the volume. Even I might be able to show it.
So this little thing back down here is muted.
There we go.
Oh wow.
There we go. Okay.
Here's something here. Cop car. No luck.
There it is. That was the loud. That little revving was the
I didn't hear
loud that we
shit.
were talking about. Like it's not very loud.
Hmm.
I mean, man, Keith, you'd get in a lot of trouble.
I knowingly would get in trouble.
Yes.
I had to stop myself there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I find it funny. So I think what happened in this situation was the kid had been pulled over before in a real car, a gas car, and he sold it and he got this electric car. And he was like, yeah, he's like, you pulled me over, but that was a different car. Like that's not this car. And they were kind of just breaking his chops, right? But it's just comical that it's an electric car.
It
and
is comical.
That's the comical part, right? So yeah, I didn't think that was.
I mean,
pretty
I
funny.
guess it makes sense. Like, if you can program a sound to come out of a speaker, then I guess you could program a louder sound. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, it's-
14.
Yeah, that's right. This one goes up to 11.
Yeah, exactly. It's better because it's 11.
I'll give us another 2A story. All right, so this one is, I'm a little torn on this one. So a 9-year-old got arrested for bringing a gun to school. So he brings a revolver to school, loaded revolver to school, and they threw the book at this kid. I mean, they really did. And I'm not saying, you know, maybe that's what they should have done. So what happened was the kid lives with his uncle, and his uncle has a revolver, and the uncle said it was in my nightstand drawer, and he's like, he knew I had a gun, but I didn't think he knew where it was. And the kid was like, now this is the part that's scary. I was just gonna show it to some friends.
Yeah.
And then he says, but if someone messed with me, I knew kind of like indicates
Yeah.
that, if someone was gonna mess with him. So, sad story. But what I found, I don't want to make it too comical, but they show a picture of the revolver, and I'm like, the uncle doesn't have a lockbox, gun in the nightstand, and the gun is in an Uncle Mike's, nylon holder, and I'm like, this is not the gun guy we want representing us. This is not
He has the right to the firearm like anyone else.
He does, but maybe he needs to be trained up a little bit.
We say that all the time. Maybe
Yeah.
everybody needs to be trained. We just don't think it should be a requirement.
Yeah. I mean, but this is the result. Let's put it this way. This is the result of you not being trained.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that the uncle got in any trouble, which is
shocking.
a little shocking, but and the left would
But
say
I guess that's the point though too, right?
that's
That
the
there's
left. The left would say this is why they have like mandatory lockbox laws and stuff, right?
That's right, Thomas.
But you can't have it both ways.
But you can't. Not only can you not have it both ways, but let's just say they did have a mandatory lockbox. Okay, what happens? You arrest this guy, you throw him in jail. It still happened.
Right.
It still can happen.
Right. And this is where I believe in personal accountability.
Yeah.
Right? Like you gotta, this guy.
He should now be like, I'm going out and I'm getting a lockbox, and this will never happen to me ever again.
Some tells me guys that have Uncle Mike holsters don't do that.
Get lock boxes or do what they.
Yeah.
We're looking at new cases and they're lockable. So we're going to offer those with a specific line.
Have you thought about partnering Nighthawk? I'm sorry, Nighthawk. Sorry about that.
No,
Kings
me.
River Custom. Have you
like-
thought about Kings River Custom and Uncle Mike's doing a partnership?
Would've been funnier.
That was first on my list was hollering at them in Safari Land, and actually Safari Land would be okay. Safari Land makes pretty good shit, but no, haven't thought about Uncle Mike's really. I've got a couple. I've got an old Beretta that's it's a really pretty Italian only Beretta. I mean, it came from Italy, from like their police force, and barely shot, beautiful bluing. And I threw it in Uncle Mike's because it sits on the shelf, and I don't want it banged up. But yeah, that's the only Uncle Mike's I've got. And then I don't use it; I just keep it in there so it keeps the patina really nice on that Beretta.
Yeah.
Matt,
I think that's an acceptable use.
You don't have to defend your Uncle Mike's. It's okay.
I've also got a $800 freaking shark skin setup up there. I've got a full elephant rig too. That's probably worth about $2,000 with the belt, the mag holster, and the mag pouches. I mean, yeah, I mean we can get pretty exotic too.
You have is it a shoulder rig?
No, it's not a pimpy shoulder rig. This is
Kids
it's actually just a waist rig with a outside the waistband
Matt,
holster.
I am a sucker for a 1911 inch shoulder rig.
It's not the old Mel Gibson. Yeah,
He
it's not
thinks
the
he's
old Mel
Crockett.
I
Gibson.
love it.
Or what was that? Was the Punisher? Punisher had two shoulder
Yeah,
rigs. Didn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. I like the Thomas, what's his face version of the Punisher. Thomas.
Do you like the Ferrari from Miami Vice? Are you a fan?
Oh, the Testarossa. Which one? The white one or the
Yeah,
black
the
one?
white one.
The
Testarossa.
Testarossa, of course. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, Testarossa is classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick between that Ferrari and the Magnum PI Ferrari, I'd probably still pick the Testarossa. Yeah.
Yeah, 308 GTBI is just a turd, man. I mean, it's just a 200 horsepower
Yeah,
turd.
it's not the BBI. I mean, that's the one you really want. You know, that's the one you want.
Mark, please clarify. We listen and we don't judge. What are we not judging? I want to know more about your comment.
Thomas nailed it. He brought up the house we were talking about, the Lint Riker house from 1656. Nice job, Thomas.
What is that? I'm sorry.
That's the house I was talking about. That's the oldest kind of homestead in New York State in New York. It's the Lint Riker house. That
Look at you, Tom.
yeah, Tom came through with the.
Yeah.
I couldn't piece it together through the bourbon.
Yes. All right, Keith. Let's do two more articles. Let's wrap up with. So this was our segment was called "Driving Them Crazy." I don't know why that was. That's actually a terrible. That's a terrible name. I don't know why that was it. I think it was supposed to be different articles.
Hiking them crazy.
Maybe. All right.
They
I
were
like it. Good
hiking
cover.
them.
Hiking them crazy.
Hiking them crazy.
So you hit that one, and then I'll end on the millionaire.
Okay, so there was a group of guys that decided to go out hiking in the New York wilderness and take some mushrooms, and it did not go as they.
Really strange.
Yeah, strange, right? I mean, they literally had to call in for help, and they admitted that they had consumed mushrooms and that they were experiencing a
Debilitating?
debilitating. Thank you. I struggle with words sometimes. Debilitating high, and they just they needed help getting out, and they literally. I don't think they were charged with anything. Did you see that in the article?
I didn't. I mean, I feel like that's one of those situations where they were like, these two guys, they got everything they deserve. They don't need any.
They paid their price.
They paid the price. They don't need any more consequences.
But they literally had to be, like huffed out on. Somebody had their arms over.
So I've never done. I have no point of reference on this one. But
I thought I tried once, but it didn't do. I was fake.
They were like mushrooms.
I got
They were
scammed.
They were mushrooms in a can from ShopRite, and you were like, I don't know, man.
I was young. I got scammed. I didn't know it.
I've never done, but people I know that have done it, I've heard it's one of those things where like you could have a great experience where it's like super enlightening and all that other stuff.
Ayahuasca.
And it can be like the woods are melting, man.
The woods were melting for this group.
They really were. They really were. Yeah, Tom, his dad was a fireman in the Bronx. Love the service, man.
They did.
Right.
Appreciate his service.
They were nice though. The officers that helped these hikers out, they gave them a ride to their rental cabin.
Really?
Yeah, they did. It says in the article they were provided a ride to their back to their cabin.
That's pretty
It's
nice.
nice of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's wrap it up. We got our last article of the night, and I actually want to highlight. I said it once already. But I want to highlight this one more time. So. Tom mentioned his dad was a fireman in the Bronx, and he was in 9/11 and recently passed as a result of what had happened there. So
Sorry to hear that, Tom.
send
Yeah.
condolences, Tom.
Thanks for your dad's service.
My father-in-law also recently passed from a 9/11 related illness. He was an NYPD cop, and
Yeah.
he was there that day too. So I'm with you. Man.
And I think it's, I think that's the things we got to do. We got to make sure that we, obviously keep those people's memories alive, and
Amen.
always celebrate what happened. So, all right, I'm gonna try to end us on a.
This isn't necessarily a positive.
It's I took this different than Keith did. Keith was like, he gave me a comment. I'm gonna defend this guy.
All right.
So a millionaire paid $50,000 for the eggs of a runway model because he didn't want ugly kids. And I don't know, I wish I remember what you had said, Keith.
I have to go back and try to find it because I don't remember what I said either, but I'm sure it was something along the lines of, this is part of what's wrong with society.
It was something like that, but it wasn't quite that. But that'll do. We'll leave it there. That'll do. I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
Come on.
Listen, here's the deal. At first, so wait, hold on. Let me tell you where my head went first.
All right.
At first,
you can convince me. Actually,
I'm gonna convince you.
All right.
Let's see. Here we go. All right, here we go. So, at first, I was like, oh, this D-bag
Yeah.
bought a runway model's eggs because he was married to someone. He was like, you aren't good enough, and I want my kids to be good looking. And I married you, but you're not good looking enough. And I was like, what a douchebag. But he's gay. So he couldn't have a baby. So he had to have a baby, they had to have a surrogate. And he just wants a good looking kid. And now where I'm going with this is, if you're going to get a surrogate, people shop for eggs. They shop for smart for smart eggs. That's a thing. Like, people will be like, I want a, tall donor with, like, isn't that a thing?
So it's capitalism.
No, I just think
you get to if you can afford it, you get to pick what you want.
I'm just saying he's no different than the guy who's like, I want my kids to be smart, so I'm going with the guy from Dartmouth, or the girl says I want a guy from Dartmouth. That's a thing. Like, people will go to and they will buy from someone who was a donor who had good genetics, right? So I'm just saying, all I'm saying is this guy's no more vain than the person that wants a smart kid.
That's actually a thing they're talking about in the West Coast is altering DNA to be able to get that kind of result is messing with them to, increase IQ levels, make them pretty. All the different splicing they're doing in the lab now, they think they can drill down those little finer points we're talking about now, like a menu, and be able to have more disease resistant kids. All that stuff.
Mess with genetics like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's God stuff there.
I mean, they've been trying to do that since the sheep. I mean, when we were in school, they were cloning sheep. Remember that?
Yeah. Brian says, never have I ever. Either he's talking about the mushrooms, or he's never paid $50,000 for a runway model. I don't know where you came in the conversation, here, Brian.
Or he's never owned Uncle Mike's.
Maybe
that's true.
Those are all never ever have I.
In which case, I mean, you're a guy that's on the straight and narrow. Good job for you, Brian. Appreciate it.
You're pulling in your part, Bri.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that are here joining us, I appreciate it. Sorry if Keith's mic was not working as good. Oh, shrooms. What's this? Oh.
Looks is about genetics, smarts.
Got the shrooms.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for being with us, guys. And we don't do this a lot, but the Charlie Kirk stuff was a little heavy, but I'm glad we could wrap it up with some kind of fun stuff and all that stuff. So, guys, seriously, we appreciate it, and as always,
stay tolerant.
Stay tolerant. I like that. Yeah. Well, we want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in, and a very special thanks to Matt. Matt, thank you for hanging out, chopping up with us.
Always my pleasure.
Yeah, and if you guys are looking for a truly bespoke 1911, then be sure to check out kingsrivercustom.com. If anyone out there has any opinions or thoughts on tonight's conversation, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, Discord, or Spotify, and let your voice be heard.
Matt, thank you for hanging out.
Oh, absolutely.